Greetings, greetings, greetings. I'm super excited for this next edition of the Moving Camp podcast. I am your host, Stephen Barrett. And what we have here, what we like to do at the Moving Camp from the United Supreme Council, Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, Prince Hall affiliated, Nordic jurisdiction, USA Incorporated. Got to drop that every once in a while just to let people know what you're doing and what you're representing. But this edition of the podcast, I'm really excited because we're going to bring on a special guest that's been working diligently in the community and expanding our horizon of what we expect when we come to these conferences for the United Supreme Council. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on a good friend of mine here, Grand Inspector General Joseph Wilson. Joe, if you don't mind me calling you Joe, I feel like we can do that at this point. Is that all right with you here, good sir? You
I'm
should have
more
known I was
concerned
going
if
to.
you call. I'm more concerned if you call me Joseph.
Well, no, no. Well, hey, I'm super excited. So, what I'm gonna do first to get this kicked off to let us know what we're gonna be talking about when it comes to the community engagement department. First, can you just give us a highlight of what is the purpose of this department? How does it align with the USC's broader mission? Like, kind of give us a little rundown so individuals know kind of what to expect.
Absolutely. Again, thank you for having me on the podcast. It's an honor to be here. So the core purpose of the United Supreme Council Community Relations Department, under the direction of Sovereign Grand Inspector General Charles Ayler, is to foster a strong and meaningful relationship between the organizations and the community that we serve. The annual Community Engagement Day is actually a culmination of the efforts of the Community Relations Department, fostering and building relationships with stakeholders throughout the year. This is evident in each city and each orient that we travel to from year to year. By creating opportunities for collaboration, support, mutual understanding, we work together to ensure outreach efforts have a lasting impact. This aligns directly with the USC's broader mission of service, actually.
No, and so that's something you hit the nail on the head on one thing, and it's been an evolution, right? So can you like walk us through how this has changed over the years, like kind of from where were to like where we're going and some of the impact that you made? Because like I said, I personally got to witness a couple of it. It's pretty exciting, but for the individuals that didn't have a chance to go to like Milwaukee, things of this nature, like kind of walk us through like the history and kind of the impact and improvement that you guys have been making on that committee.
Absolutely. That's a great question. So, actually, over the years, our approach to community engagement has definitely evolved. For example, in 2022, the department hosted a health fair led by Grand Inspector General Kenyatta Donnelly in Philadelphia. This year, we have decided to leave a lasting impression in the city of Philadelphia by establishing the Dr. Melvin J. Bazemore Scottish Rite Sensory Room. I know that's a mouthful, but it's very important that we understand what we're doing and how we're executing it. So, this room will offer an opportunity for students that may be experiencing some emotional and cognitive challenges, an outlet, right, to reset or take a break. Many students, particularly those with sensory processing disorders like autism or ADHD, they're overwhelmed by sensory stimuli that can be present in a busy classroom. So, a sensory room offers a retreat where they can kind of self regulate, calm down, and just kind of reset for the day. The soothing environment, as we like to call it, with calming lights, sounds, textures, different tactile experiences help reduce stress, anxiety, and other frustration that some of the students may be experiencing. So, how do we get to this point? Again, in 2022, we did the health fair in Philly. In 23, we were in Denver, Colorado. I was fortunate enough to be elected as the president of the William R. Stark class for 2023. We fed the homeless there in downtown Denver. And then last year, I wanted to honor my class's namesake, the late Grand Minister of State, William R. Stark, in his hometown of Milwaukee. So we did a street naming. We renamed the street that he spent so much time on at his church after him. We conducted a food pantry there. We had the mayor present. We actually had all levels of government up to the state present. Many proclamations were given. I think it was a grand occasion. So we had to build upon that, right? So that's where we're at now in 2025. and with the sensory room, and we're also doing a food pantry at the school. We want to address some of the food insecurities that some of the students may have by establishing an opportunity for them and their families to come in, get some food discreetly, right, with dignity, take it home and prepare hot meals for them. So that's where we're at. It's a lot going on this year. We got a lot of moving parts. The sensory room, the food pantry, along with another health and resource fair, which is going to be led by Grand Inspector General Donnelly.
No, so this is something like you hit the nail on the head. And I think hopefully when the members of the organization and also the general public is watching this podcast, take a look at the actual boots on the ground making impacts, right? So I think of when I pay my dues, right? Like this is the stuff that you're getting out of it. And I hopefully people can take that home that, hey, I'm just not spending my money, spending my wills. We're actually putting my money where our mouth is. And then also, I know there's an initiative that's one we have to really really dive into, and I want to take a moment to speak to the public here, is if you have a chance to we do have a UFC raffle that's going on to be able to help and support the sensory room. The link and the details will be in the embedded in the messaging of this YouTube video and this podcast so that you can be able to participate whatever you can. It goes directly to some great news, and also you get a chance to win anywhere. I believe is what, $10,000 is the first prize.
Absolutely. And it goes for a good cause, right? So we
Great.
like to say that the raffle is it's a purpose behind it, right? It's going to support this great endeavor that we're doing in Philadelphia. So you have a chance to win some money, but you also have a chance to support some deserving and needy students at the Prince Hall School in Philadelphia.
Man, this is awesome. Like I said, for the committee, what you and your committee are doing is phenomenal. And I want to know because now, like you're stepping up and raising the bar. This committee is doing a lot. So I want to know, like, kind of moving forward in future, like, what are some of the future community engagement things that you're doing within the organization, and like, how do you see that shaping the next generation of leaders too? Because I think that's going to be a big, huge mantle. Like, we have to continually get better and improve each and every year.
It's a loaded question, but a great question nonetheless. I think that let me first say this, right? You're right. We are building upon everything that we've done in previous years. We are evolving, as we previously mentioned, but I think that we're shaping the next generation of leaders here, right? We're bridging that gap with the community and with the young people. They can see that this is what hard work does, right? One of the things that the Sovereign Grand Commander has stated many times is that he does not want us to step foot into any Orient and they not remember that we were there. So that's a big challenge, right? How do we execute on that? Making sure that we leave a lasting impact from year to year. The beautiful thing about what we're doing this year in Philadelphia is that it will be there when we come back 3 years from now. You can visit the school, you can see it. I honestly believe that this sensory room is going to become a model for other schools nationally. It's one of the first in a urban community public school setting of this type. I visited several sensory rooms in the city of Philadelphia over the last few months, and I honestly must tell you that none of them reflect the demographic that we serve on a regular basis. So I'm excited about that opportunity. Um, Mental health impacts people of all colors, all races, all socioeconomic statuses, right? It does not discriminate. So I think we have to equally serve those populations.
No, but this is a big thing, what you said about serving the population. I can speak from my own personal experience, right? So when my son was given some extra tools and resources in the school, like he's already gotten good grades, but there's been other things that occurred. But once we gave him a little bit more tools and resources and the school was behind it, we saw a drastic change. So again, hopefully people, when you're listening to this, you're understanding that the impact that we're going to have on these children's, we literally could fundamentally change some of the trajectory in their school, because I've seen it happen personally. You know what I mean? So it's very something that's very serious, it's important, but something also to be proud. So again, I want to make sure to highlight that because it hits home for me personally, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point. And one of the things to mention is that the school has roughly 400 students at the Prince Hall School. And from what I have been told, nearly 100 of those students are special needs students.
Mm.
If you do the math, that's a very high number out of their overall student population, right? So that alone tells you that what we're doing is going to have a huge impact. A lot of these students, come from situations where they haven't been afforded these opportunities before. So this is new for them. But I think that overall it will help with their development and their growth.
No, like I said, you guys are on the right track here. Like I said, it hit home for me, and I'm excited. Like I said, I bought my raffle ticket, one of the first ones in there, because again, hey, win the money would be phenomenal, but also too, when I go to Philly, when I go to United Supreme Council, it's going to be pretty awesome to kind of look and see and say, hey, I did a small part of that. So
Absolutely.
and now I want to know because from my understanding of your department is you all work all year round, right? There's a lot of things that you're doing. So, question, if somebody was looking to just get involved or support, not necessarily have to be on the committee, but like if they want to support, like how does the members kind of go about that efforts to kind of support the great work that you and the committee are doing?
Absolutely. I think one of the first things that any member within Scottish Rite should do is write down your ideas, right? Have a conversation, possibly with your the head of your group, which could be your commander in chief. And we don't want to exclude the loyal ladies as well.
Hmm.
So speaking with the loyal lady ruler of that particular assembly, and they can then take that information to the deputy, right? From there, the deputies have meetings on a frequent basis. Those conversations would come back. Um, our director, Sovereign Grand Inspector General Ayler, would get that information, take it, we compile that data, and see how we can impact those individuals in that particular orient. As you know, next year we're in Detroit. So it may be a different strategy and a different mission in Detroit than it is in Philadelphia this year. So we want to cater and really focus on what the need is in that particular area.
No, so again, that's something like it's interesting. I never thought about like this specific strategies for the city because, like you said, every demographic is different and they have their own challenges. So customizing this is something I think people can find some pride in, where they can say, "Hey, this is what we need," and voice their opinion and get a little bit of support. And so, what I want to leave it with for individuals to be inspired is like, what message would you leave with our members about the power of the engagement and like their role, especially as Scottish Rite Masons and loyal ladies of building a stronger community?
Great question. So, for me, the power of engagement lies in the ability to create a ripple effect. I think that we create a synergy, right? What people see in Philadelphia may motivate them for next year in Detroit and the year after that and such. So, there's ideas that come from everybody. We don't want to exclude anyone's ideas. Say, hey, this is what I think could really impact us here in Michigan or in Philadelphia or in Denver or in Milwaukee or Illinois, wherever we may be, right? Again, we've already said that there's different missions depending on where you're at, but collectively, it all falls under service, right? Which is a huge component to what Scottish Rite is about, is serving others.
No, well, hey, I believe personally, just having this conversation, and we talked a little bit earlier, like kind of the day I was having, right? But just having this interaction with you
Yeah.
makes me feel a little bit more energized to do a little bit more and be more involved here. But again, I appreciate it. What's going to happen next is really simple. Is everyone, if you're not already, let's get to Philly. Right, you're gonna see myself there. You're gonna see Joe there. You're gonna see Sovereign Grand Spencer, Charles Ayler, Donnelly's gonna be there. That whole team is gonna be working and moving and grooving in Philly to be able to ensure that we have a phenomenal session, but more importantly, that we're leaving a lasting legacy. So there's something you're talking about when it comes to legacy. I think your committee is just literally taking on this monumental task, right, of being able to make impacts. And again, just talk a little bit more about like your committee, the members, and everything like that, and kind of some of what your visions is and what they're doing to leave a lasting legacy.
Absolutely. So again, we have the community Engagement Day committee for this year, which includes Sovereign Grand Inspector General Charles Ayler, who's the director, myself, Sovereign Grand Inspector General Warren Montague, who's actually the Pennsylvania USC host Orient Chair for this year, and last but definitely not least, loyal lady Marva Linda Montgomery. They have worked diligently with me to make this happen this year. We're going to have a lot going on. The Health and Resource Fair is actually going to be inclusive of Blue Cross Blue Shield, which Donnelly has connections with. There are going to be all kind of resources there for that. But we also have the Philadelphia Fire Department. It's going to be on site. The police department. We may even have some mounted officers on horses there, some bounce houses for the kids. So we got several things to engage everyone. So super excited, very grateful for the committee and the work that they have done so far.
Oh man, that's super awesome. And hey, people, if you're watching, I keep telling you to go to Philly, so you need to listen to me. I'm telling you to go to Philly because it's going to be a fun time. I'm gonna be there. My family's gonna be there. Once my kids hear about a bounce house, they're gonna lose their freaking mind. So I'm gonna get ready for that. We're gonna have some fun, but that's gonna be awesome. Members and to everybody that's watching this podcast, hopefully you're inspired. One thing that I took away from this is my dues goes towards something, right? There's a lot of costs associated with making this happen. So by me being financial allows us the opportunity to do a little bit more, right? So I know oftentimes we ask for people to dig into their pockets, but I think when the cause is so great, it's a minuscule opportunity. I mean, a minuscule basically hurdle to get over to do something very positive. So again, at the end of this podcast, I'm gonna have a link to where you can go as far as for the raffle. Also, I'm gonna make sure that it's in the description. And if you haven't already, make sure to like this video and actually subscribe to our podcast and also our page so that you know and you can stay up to date with that everything that we're doing in the United Supreme Council. So without further ado, hope you all have a fantastic day. Till next time.